the lifestyle of a champion, how you are an example to others, how you serve others, and how living like a champion starts a long time before you hit a stage or before you receive a trophy. Today I want to talk a little bit about how to unleash the champion within you. Good morning. Is it still morning or is it afternoon?
Good morning.
Good morning. And a special thanks to Uzma once again for all of the work that she's putting in with me, and to her husband Khalid for helping get me here, and for everyone else who's had a hand in me having come to Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much. I am so happy and so glad to be here. My question for you is, what is holding you back? What is holding you back? When I talk about unleashing the champion, when you talk about unleashing something, it's releasing something. It's letting something go. If you ever seen an animal on a leash, it's because that animal is feared because of its power or because of its natural gifts. Maybe you've seen a tiger on a leash because they have sharp claws and sharp teeth. And you don't want to unleash a tiger because it might cause you damage, or so you think. Dogs are often on a leash because they have potential to maybe attack. Wild animals are on a leash, and sometimes wild children are on a leash. And you leash things to keep them contained. So what leash is restraining you from attacking your goals? Now, I'm sorry? I don't know what he just said, but okay. I couldn't hear you, sir.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure, there we go. Okay, I heard that, absolutely. Now, I know many of us in here are high achievers. We're high achievers, we're high earners, we shoot for the stars, we are very successful already. But there's always areas of improvement. No matter how far along you are in your life, in your career, in your educational journeys, or even in your families and friendships, or even DTMs, we can always push a little bit further. There's still some area that you can improve on. There's still something that you need to work at. There are still some things that you want to accomplish. There are still dreams and goals that we have yet to accomplish. So my question is, why? Why haven't we accomplished those goals that we've set out to achieve? Why have we not reached the unreachable star? Why have we not created the impossible? Why have we not done the impossible? What is holding us back? And that's a question that you're going to have to answer on your own. For me, I understand that I have leashes on me. Before even joining Toastmasters, there were leashes, there were restraints that I put on myself. For me personally, I didn't know a lot about my family history. If you know anything about the history of African Americans, you know that we had a long history, long before being in America, but a lot of our history was wiped away during the transatlantic slave trade. So a lot about my ancestors and a lot about my customs and my cultures from Africa, it was lost. And so it took me a long time to find myself. It took me a long time to discover my greatness, especially with the oppression of African Americans in the country of America and on the continent of North America. So when I was older and I started on a journey of self-discovery, that helped take away one of my leashes. When I went back to Africa and I explored my roots and I visited the villages, and I was able to talk to people from Ghana, and I was able to eat the food of my ancestors and wear the dashikis and wear the kente cloth of the people who came before me. It unleashed another level of who I was. Because I think it's a quote that says, a man cannot know where he's going unless he knows where he comes from. For a long time, I had no idea where I came from. I'm still trying to find the exact tribe that I'm from in Africa, but going to the continent itself and interacting with millions of people who look just like me, that unleashed a little bit of the champion within me. So many of us here, we know our roots. We know where we come from. We speak our mother tongue. We eat the food of our people. We walk in the footsteps of, thank you so much. That's so kind. Thank you. She brought me some snacks. But we speak the language of our ancestors. We know who our great-great-great-grandfather is. We know our lineage. And I think that is amazing because it helps you understand where you came from so you understand where you're going. We all know that history repeats itself, but if we know where we came from, there are certain obstacles we can avoid because we know that our forefathers did those things already. If there are habits or there are negative traits in our family line, in our family tree, then we can see what could possibly happen and we can avoid that. Personally, I think that's wonderful if you have that, but a lot of people where I come from don't have that. So that was one of the leashes that was taking a hold on me. Another leash for me personally was that I had a non-traditional upbringing. Raise your hand if you're married or your parents were married. That's the majority of you all. My parents were not married growing up. My mother was a teen mom. She had my sister when she was 17 years old. She had me when she was 19 years old. She was not married to my father, and he was not in the household. So many of you have a solid family structure. That's a blessing. That's something that if you're used to it, you'll take it for granted. But someone like me who never saw my parents married, I envy you. I envy that. So maybe later on, hug your family tighter because you are blessed to have a family structure, a cohesive unit in the household. I didn't have that growing up. So I was very lost for many, many years. Anybody who knows about boating knows that boats have a rudder. And a rudder helps you figure out what direction that you want to go. Later on, when I had a mentor, she told me when she first met me that I was rudderless. I didn't have any direction. I didn't have a father to tell me that I was beautiful. I didn't have a father to say, no, you don't date him and you don't date him because he's crazy because I did the same things he's trying to do. I didn't have a father to instill in me the masculine energy that I needed to be complete. And by having a single mom who was unmarried, she had to work. She had to work a lot. She had to work sometimes 2 or 3 jobs just to take care of the 2 children that she had by herself. So what does that mean? That means that if she's working all day and she's working all night, she's not at home. So I didn't have the nurturing care of a mother who taught me how to be a wife because she wasn't a wife. So I didn't know how to interact with the male counterpart because I had nobody teaching me that. So that was another leash that I had on me. Growing up in a non-traditional household with just a mom, and she was a kid raising children, and we kind of had to figure it out on our own. That led to a lack of self-confidence. A lack of self-confidence was another leash, another restraint that was on me as a young person. And when we lack self-confidence, usually we don't take risks. When we don't have confidence and trust in ourselves, we're not going to push ourselves harder because we don't believe that we can do anything great. Because maybe no one has poured those words of affirmation into us as young people to give us the courage needed to basically conquer the world. So all these leashes, all these restraints, all these barriers that I had on me, I realized that there was something inside of me that was great. I just didn't know how to get it out. I didn't know how to hone in on it, and I didn't know how to structure the craft or sharpen those skills. And so I didn't use those as an excuse. Just like I don't want you to use your restraints or your leashes as an excuse. So I ask you this, have you put a leash on yourself? Have you restrained yourself? Have you put limits on yourself? Are you afraid of the power that lives and lies inside of you? Because there is so much power, so much greatness, and I believe that we all know this. I believe that when speakers come and speak to audiences, it's things that you all have heard before, because I know there's nothing new under the sun. However, anytime a message is repeated or it's repetitive, that means you just needed confirmation. So I'm here to give you that confirmation that you needed, that greatness lies inside of you, whether you believe it or not, whether you want to tap into it or not, it's there. I guarantee it. I guarantee you that it's there. So does success and the idea of succeeding take you out of your comfort zone? For those of us who may have not gone to the next level, is it scary? Do you fear it? Do you have that fear of flying? Not like an airplane. Do you have a fear of soaring above the expectations that you put on yourself? How do you unleash that champion within? I started by not making excuses anymore. I started by understanding that there was something great inside of me, and I made the choice to tap into it, to dig deeper, to take away those leashes, to rip them away one at a time with the help of mentors and leaders and a little bit of counseling and therapy. I was able to get rid of those leashes and start tapping into the greatness within myself. So how are you going to start to continue tapping into the greatness of yourself? Because it's wonderful to be an engineer. I think that's great. I would love for my son to be an engineer. I think it's wonderful to be a scientist or a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it is that your careers or your occupation is, right? But are you utilizing the passion and the gift that you know is inside of you in your occupation? That's difficult. It's deeper than intelligence in your brain. It's deeper than the knowledge that you receive from your college degree. How are you bearing your soul? How do we feel your heart? What are you passionate about? This is a reminder, because we all know this is a reminder. And this is coming from a woman who's traveled to many, many, many different countries and spoken to many, many, many different people all around the world. We have more in common than we have differences. We have more similarities than we have differences. I've met CEOs of Fortune 500 companies who are making lots and lots of money and who have PhDs and they're highly intelligent, but they still have not unleashed the champion within. There are some of the smartest and richest people in the world who are not doing what they love. And that scares me. That scares me. So I'm here today to challenge you to start removing those leashes, whatever they may be. Remove those barriers. Remove the weight of self-doubt, because everything you need already lies within you. You just have to start tapping into it. But the thing about it is we don't want to do the work sometimes. And sometimes we don't have time to do the work. Mothers, we have children, we have husbands, we have homes to clean and mouths to feed and meals to cook. And that's amazing and that's wonderful. And that's a part of being a mother and a wife. But don't lose who you are in those roles. Don't lose who you are in those titles. Before you had children and before you had a husband, you still had dreams. And husbands, don't lose who you are in the role of provider and in the role of protector. Don't lose yourselves in being, oh, I'm her husband. That's what I do. That's my job. I'm her husband. I'm his or her father. Don't lose yourself in those roles, because before you had a wife and before you had children, you had dreams and you had goals. Now, young people, you're fresh. You have a fresh start, because many of you are not married and you don't have children. I see you. Hi. I'm not going to forget about the young people. This is the time where you can start figuring it out. Start understanding who you are and where you want to be. Yes, we all want to be successful. I teach my son the same thing. You be the best. You work hard. You outshine. You outsmart. You outlast. But I still encourage my son to do the things that he loves. You can read every single day and you can get high marks in school and on your homework and do your projects and everything. But my son loves basketball. He is a basketball fanatic. So after he studies, after he does his chores, after he prays, after he cleans his room, after all that is said and done, I'm going to put a basketball in his hand and let him shoot some hoops, because that's what he loves. So parents, encourage your children after the academics and after we have the discussions about occupation and family structure and all the values and morals of the family in the future. What do your kids like to do? Are we making time for the things that they love to do? Or are we making time for the things that we love for them to do? And that's hard and that's a challenge. But try to make a little bit of time to start taking some of the leashes that you have on your children off. You know what they like, you know what they enjoy. Make just a little bit of time for the things that they love. Children, what are some of the things that you love to do? Football? Mario Kart? What? Play video games. What else? Basketball? Badminton? Okay. What else? Softball? Soccer? Table tennis? Okay. Good. What else? Only only the internet. Well, make a little bit of, not too much time on the internet, a little bit of time on the internet, okay? And parents, make sure you're having discussions with your children to know what they like. Do you even know what they like? Did you know your child loved table tennis? Did you know he loved video games? Continue to explore the champion within them. Because we are raising the next leaders of the future, right? Yes. We're raising the next leaders of the future, and the future is global, and we know that. The future is global. So my Ryan might be next to this young man in the future. Whether it is a virtual or a digital meeting, or whether my son is, because how old are you, sir? 14, my son is 6. So he might be an intern at your company. So we have to make sure that we're spreading their knowledge and not limiting them to just Saudi Arabia or just the GCC, because it's a global world. So make sure we're understanding that there's a champion inside of all of our children, and it's our responsibility and it's our job to help unleash the champion in our children. So another way that I was able to get unleashed or to release the champion within me was mentorship. That was so important. How many of us have mentors? That's the majority of us. A few ladies up there, I see you. Mentorship. Because our mentors, they recognize our greatness maybe sometimes before we do. Maybe they see a little spark inside of you that you don't see inside of yourself. That's why they decide to take you under their wing. Or maybe you feel like they're doing the impossible, and that's something that you want to accomplish, and that's why you were attracted to them. So I strongly encourage, especially young people, seek mentorship. If you want to be a pilot, who should you surround yourself with? Pilots. Yeah. Easy, simple, right? If you want to be an architect or an engineer and your parents are not in those fields, then you should probably try to get an internship or seek mentorship from somebody you see doing the impossible. From someone you see unleashing the champion within themselves. Get under their tutelage. Get under their wing, so that when they are accomplishing their goals and they're making strides and they're doing all these things that you look up to, you understand that it's not impossible. Because if my mentor can do it, anybody can do it. I also was helped to unleash the champion within me through some of my friends. Some of my good friends, young people, not the friends who want you to not do the right thing, but the good friends. My good friends introduced me to a completely different way of thinking, because before I had what we in America call stinking thinking. And that means when the majority of your thoughts are negative. And if the majority of your thoughts are negative, the majority of your words are going to be negative. And if the majority of your words are negative, then the majority of your actions are going to be negative. It all starts with a thought. So my friends introduced me to the power of positive thinking. We all know about the power of positive thinking, right? Yes. How everything starts with a simple thought. And if you can start to change your mind and you start to change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So my friends started helping me read new books. My favorite book is called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Yes, we know that book. Yes, forgive me, I butchered his name, but it's a beautiful book. I read it at least 2 times a year, The Alchemist. And it just talks about the same thing I talked about in my speech. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, if you are following your bliss, will the road be easy? No. How many of us have read The Alchemist? So you know. Once you really start to go after your dreams and follow your dreams, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged. It's never going to be easy. It's never going to be a smooth road. But if you know for sure that that is exactly what you want to do with the rest of your life, we all know that the journey will be worth it. And you keep your thoughts positive, and you keep your words positive, and you keep your actions positive, it'll never lead you astray. I'm in Saudi Arabia right now. And if I said that to some of the children that I grew up with, they would have laughed at me. They would have laughed. Saudi Arabia? Who goes to Saudi Arabia? I do. But when you follow your dreams, you follow your bliss, you unleash that champion within, it'll take you to places that you never thought you could go before. Young people, what are some of the places that you want to go that you've never been before? America. Ah, okay. Come visit me in Texas. America, Australia, Japan. I want to go to Japan too. United Kingdom, me too. Canada, I just was in Montreal. Louisiana, in America? Good. Africa, beautiful. Yes, please go. Oh, you by yourself. I'm not going to Antarctica with you. But it's not impossible, right? It's not impossible. And I understand the power of speaking, and not just public speaking and not just writing speeches, but the power of speaking things out loud. I never would have thought you would have said Antarctica, but because you spoke it into existence, the universe just heard what you said. So if you continue to pursue the words that you speak, everything will work together for your good. That's why it's so important to make sure that you continue to keep your thoughts positive and your words positive, because everything is going to be aligned. So my friends introduced me to a lot of new literature, a lot of new ways of thinking, a lot of new different philosophies, and a lot of new different ideas. And once I was open to these new things and these new things were revealed to me, I was empowered, because it was knowledge that I had never heard of before in my life. And a whole new world opened up to me. And that's when finally I started building self-trust, and I started pouring into myself. Now you hear me saying me, self a lot, because who's the most important person in the world? Yourself. How often do we forget that though? A lot. So this is your confirmation, and this is your reminder. The most important person in the world is yourself. Ladies, if you are sick in your home, does everything shut down? Yes.
It does.
They're up there doing this, men, in case you didn't know. If mama gets sick, the whole house shuts down. Who's gonna cook? Who's gonna clean? Who's gonna make sure the kids are all right? And we'll still push through because we're moms. And then husbands, what happens if you get sick? Who's gonna pay for my purse?
Papa.
Who's gonna pay for dinner? Who's gonna drive us if you're not feeling well? So the most important person in the world is you. You have to continue to take time to pour into yourself and to trust in yourself and to get yourself to a place where you are well, you are happy, you are whole, you enjoy life, you are at peace. Because when you have inner peace, it'll shine outwardly. It'll shine outwardly. So most of us have already unleashed the champion within, right? Raise your hand if you've already unleashed the champion within you. You already know everything that I'm saying, and you've accomplished. Oh, he raised his hand. Whoever's child that is, congratulations. He has unleashed the champion within already. I don't see a lot of people raising their hands. So what do you do when you want to, or when you're ready to unleash the champion within? What do you do when you're finally ready? You shine. You shine. You take risks. You be bold. You be courageous. Even if you're the only person in the room who looks like you or talks like you or walks like you, you go into that room boldly. You eliminate your fears. You shine. You don't hide your gifts. You don't hide your talents. You don't shy away from the greatness that lies within you because you already know it's already there. And I'll piggyback off of something that I said last night. Once you understand the champion within you and you unleash the champion within you, it's up to you to start taking the leashes off of other people. So once you're free and once you understand that your light is shining and you're walking in your greatness, that's when you go back and you help other people. That's when you become a mentor. And young people, you're never too young to be a mentor. Like I said, my son is 6 years old. So you guys are his example. If you're older than the age of 6, my son is looking up to you. So if you're not unleashing the champion within you, who's going to inspire my son? And to my people who are, how old am I? Today I'm 22. So to my people who are 22 and older, I'm looking up to you. So if you're not unleashing the champion within you, then who do I have to look up to? Who's going to inspire me? Because in August of 2019, guess what? The world title, the world championship of public speaking, the world champion is not going to be me anymore. So that's going to fade away. So after that is said and done, when I come back to Saudi as simply Ramona J. Smith, and I have conversations with you and I ask you, so what have you been doing? What did you do since the DELC in 2019? And you say, oh, nothing, just working. How am I going to be inspired? How are we going to inspire the world? It's bigger than Saudi Arabia. It's bigger than the Middle East. You have a responsibility to inspire the world through the gifts that you were given, because nobody has the same gift. There are many public speakers in this room, but we all can inspire you in a different way. Some people can make you laugh like yesterday. I'm not a humorous speaker. I can't get up here and make you laugh, bro, but, but I can inspire you to become the best version of yourself. I can't get up here and tell you all the technical aspects of petrol and chemicals. I have no idea, but somebody else can. So even if we're in the same arena, we all still add a little bit of flavor to the pot. Now, when I was in the Middle East, I had a lot of Indian food and it was very good. But I don't believe that Indian food would be good with just one spice, right? You have to put a bunch of stuff in there, right? You got to put a bunch of different seasonings in the gravy, especially if it's vegetarian. You have to make it taste good. So we all are a different spice in a big bowl of tikka masala. So I just want to encourage you and challenge you to unleash that champion within and figure out what's holding you back and cut ties with it. I came from a very rough upbringing. I did not live in a big, beautiful home with two parents who loved me very much and a whole lot of money and a car and the luxuries that some of you have today. But I did not use that as an excuse. I continue to grow. I continue to surround myself with positive people. I continue to succeed. I continue to follow my dream. I continue to understand that I have this gift of speaking and this gift of being seen by other people, and I decided to use it, and I was not afraid to use it. So I want you to do the same, especially those of you who had a lot of stability and a firm foundation. You have no excuse. It's up to you. It's up to you. So what are you going to do to change the world? It's bigger than us. It's bigger than today. It's bigger than a district. What are you going to do in your life that's going to leave a lasting impact on people all around the world? Women, I see you. I see you shining. I love you so much. Men, I love you too. But I have to look up to the ladies. Respectfully, out of complete humility and respect, how are we going to change the world? How are you going to influence women all around the globe, not just in Saudi Arabia? There are some women in America right now who don't know who they are. They don't know where they're going. They're not educated. They have no idea how to raise a family or how to be a mom. And if your aspirations don't have to be huge, you can make a huge impact by being the best mom or the best wife that you can possibly be. You can make an impact in your home on your children, and then your children can change the world. But you still have to be the best version of you. So whatever it is that you want to do in your life, you can't make any excuses. And I know things are difficult sometimes and challenging. And I don't live here every day, so I don't know the daily struggles or whatever it is that you're dealing with, right? But if I can make it to Saudi Arabia from the slums of Cleveland, Ohio, with a father who was on drugs and alcohol and a single teen mom who was rarely in the household, you don't really have too many excuses, right? And I'm still here smiling, and I'm still standing. Yeah. So I know that motivation doesn't last forever, and inspiration doesn't last forever. It'll wear off as soon as we walk in the door and take our shoes off and take off our cover and everything. But motivation is just like bathing. You need it every day. Don't just get it from me. Have it in your home. Add it to your prayers. You can ask Allah for motivation, and He'll give it to you. We know that. I'm sorry, religion. Sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. You can ask the invisible force or whatever it is. Ask for motivation. Use it daily. Don't just leave here and expect me to come back next year and give you motivation over the span of 365 days. Inspire yourself. It all starts within. How are you going to unleash the champion within? I'm waiting for you. The world is waiting for you. Thank you.